Right, the next topic it is already we discussed in the previous lectures, airborne infectious diseases. Okay, so in that airborne bacterial diseases over, and now airborne viral diseases, viral infectious diseases. So that is what influenza. It is also known as a flu. So it is an airborne viral transmitted infectious disease. This is what the causative agent, it is a virus image. Then this is what the mode of transmission or distribution. It become a pandemic. A flight ఉన్న చూడండి అక్కడ. So it became a pandemic within the short period of time. So this image will tell you it's just a kind of remembering how the flu as a pandemic in United States of America. So it is an auditorium, it is not an hospital actually. Auditorium it is. The United States of America employed as this auditorium as an isolation center during the pandemic situation. During the pandemic situation, it is an isolation center. So they are using auditorium, cinema halls and open grounds and indoor stadiums during the flu pandemic situation. So this was an auditorium actually, but it is a isolation center. So this is what actual prevention. Wear the mask to prevent the spread of any kind of infectious diseases, especially airborne transmission. The mode of transmission of infectious disease is airborne transmission. So now this is what just introduction about the influenza or flu. So commonly known as flu, it is an infectious viral disease. Just you should note down what is the causative agent and what is the mode of transmission and what are the signs and symptoms are there and what exactly the incubation period of that causative agent and what is the treatments, drug treatments available in the market and what kind of vaccination should be needed. Okay, so just you concentrate on those terms, those parameters. So while you're reading any kind of infectious disease, yeah, this is what just introduction. It is an infectious viral disease and which is caused by RNA viruses, group of RNA viruses, and that virus family belongs to Orthomyxoviridae. Orthomyxoviridae. That is what just influenza viruses, group of influenza viruses, influenza A, B. I will tell you in the next slide what kind of viruses should be present in that family, Orthomyxoviridae. So these influenza viruses which affects birds and mammals. Okay, so common symptoms during the disease condition, during the influenza or during the flu: sensation of chills and fever, sore throat, muscle pains and severe headache, coughing, fatigue and general discomfort of the biological system. Although confused with other influenza like illnesses, especially the common cold. In case of influenza, the common cold is very severe or more severe disease. Compared with the common cold, influenza is more severe disease. You should identify which one is common cold and which one is influenza. Okay. So continuation part. This is what the definition according to the World Health Organization WHO. Influenza is a viral infection that affects mainly the nose, throat, bronchi, and occasionally respiratory system containing lungs. Infection usually lasts for about a week and is characterized by sudden onset of high fever. The characterization, which is characterized by the flu, which is characterized by sudden onset of high fever, different aching muscles, muscle pains, muscle ache and headache, and severe malaise, non-productive cough, sore throat and rhinitis. So this is what the definition of flu and characterization of flu according to the World Health Organization. Okay. So here just inflammation of mucous membrane. This is what here another new term for you, it is rhinitis. This is what inflammation of the mucous membrane of the nose. So during the common cold and by any hypersensitivity or allergic reactions, so there is a inflammation, there is a rhinitis, it may be observed. So rhinitis is nothing but inflammation of the mucous membrane of the nose or nostrils. Okay. So now coming to this is what history part of influenza. Don't write this one, just listen here. It can be traced as far back as 400 before Christ, 400 BC. So Hippocrates of the epidemics, he describes a cough outbreak that occurred in 412 BC. Anglo-Saxon period అంటుంటారు దాన్ని. So in modern day Turkey, at the turn of the autumn season it is. So during the 17th century period, between the 1781 to 1782, an influenza epidemic infected 2/3 of the Rome's population and 3/4 of the Britain's population. That much of population been infected during the 17th century. So later this influenza or this flu spread to North America, from Rome's and Britain's to North America, West Indies and South America. The spread of pandemic culminated in New England and New York and Scotia in 1789. From 1781 to 89. So this 1781 is a marked beginning of the influenza epidemics and pandemics. This is what during the 17th century or the history of this flu. So this diagram, this figure show you what kind of inventions are there and what kind of infectious diseases are there from 20th century and the 21st century. In the 1918, the Spanish flu pandemic, the causative is H1N1 here during the 1918. This is what Spanish flu, which kills between 20 and 100 million people worldwide. 100 million people worldwide. And after 10 years, 1918 to 1928, penicillin is discovered. After 1931, this influenza virus is identified. Here, the virus may be identified. So, in 1935, some sulfonamide drugs, sulfa drugs, may be discovered. Sulfa drugs and medicines first line of defense against bacterial infections are discovered. In 1935, that is. In 1942, Francis and Salk, they developed the first influenza vaccine. So how much time will take here from the 1918 to 1942? How much population may be killed? Then here, during the 1918, in the year of the 1918, the Spanish flu or Spanish pandemic occurs. In 1942, there is a development of the first vaccine for influenza. So in 1943, the mass production of penicillin, the world's first antibiotic, begins. Here the only discovery process it is, penicillin was discovered in the 1928, but the mass production of penicillin which begins in 1943, in the Second World War, after Second World War. In the 1957, another flu, there is Asian flu, which kills over 1 million people worldwide. So here it is, the Spanish flu H1N1 and it is H2N2. The virus, causative virus is influenza N1, H1N1. These are the types, H1 and N1 types of pandemics, types of flu, which kills over 1 million people throughout the worldwide. During 1957, that pandemic was happened. In the 1964, some antiviral drugs, along with the vaccine, some of the antiviral drugs may be discovered. Those are adamantanes. Adamantanes. These are antiviral drugs that attack influenza virus A only. So there is influenza B is there and C is there, but here the adamantanes as antiviral agents which kills influenza virus A only. This invention was happened during the 1964. So after Asian flu, this is what 1957, okay, and after 10 years in the 1968, Hong Kong pandemic, it is also a flu, Hong Kong flu, Hong Kong pandemic H3N2, the type is H3N2, which kills over 500,000 people worldwide. So here this is what H2N2 is 1 million, but here half of 1 million or 0.5 throughout the worldwide. So after this pandemic, after 4 years of this pandemic, 1972, there is a development or the discovery of amoxicillin. It's an antibiotic. In the 1993, some antiviral drugs, Janamivir, this is what an antiviral drug. So now, during this COVID-19, remdesivir, most of the physicians, they are using remdesivir. It is an antiviral injection. The route of administration is IV and it is an antiviral agent, remdesivir. So Janamivir, an antiviral, it is the agent that can attack both influenza virus A and B. But here adamantines are there already in the 1964 and here the 1993. How much time will take from 64 to 93? During the 64, only influenza virus A treatment with adamantines. But what about B and C? In the 1993, another antiviral agent, that is Janamivir, an antiviral agent that can attack both influenza viruses like A and B strains. So in the 1997, another antiviral drug, oseltamivir, so which kills both influenza virus A and B also. Another drug invention during the 1997. This is what it is, just potent compared with the existing. Already antiviral drugs are there within the market. So why we need to develop or discover to another new potent molecule here? There are some side effects are there. Otherwise it may be lesser potent. So that's why we need to discover any new kind of antiviral agent. In the 1997, oseltamivir, which is discovered for both influenza virus A and B. So I think you are here now after your birth. 1997 lo మీరు ఉండకపోవచ్చు maybe. During the 2009, I think you will be there. So yeah, during the 2009 swine flu, which is a pandemic, which kills more than 280,000 people, around 3 lakhs people worldwide. Swine flu. It happened in the 2009. So just you can extend it up to now. Just you have to enter what it is, 2019 COVID and రాసేస్తుంటారు ఇక్కడ. Okay, another pandemic. So this is what just regarding flu only, the history of influenza viruses, how they attack on the population and how it will become a pandemic, and what are the discoveries are there, what kind of antiviral drugs may be discovered. Okay, so this is what just a history about that. Yeah, just you look at this. American Red Cross nurses, those who are serving, American Red Cross nurses keep the flu patients in temporary ward setups inside the Oakland Municipal Auditorium. Just like now the situation is just like this picture in the hospitals throughout the worldwide. And India also now we are facing like this situation due in COVID. So here this picture, American Red Cross nurses keep the flu patients isolating wards. These are in temporary wards set up inside the Auckland Municipal Auditorium. So now coming to our syllabus sheet, epidemiological determinants. What are the epidemiological parameters are there with the flu? Related epidemiological determinants. Okay. Yeah. Which one is the causative agent? The first one. So influenza viruses are classified within the family of Orthomyxoviridae. There are three viral subtypes, namely influenza type A, type B, and type C. These three viruses are antigenically different. The capacity antigenicity may be different. And there is no cross immunity. Cross immunity means, for example, type A, it is having different antibodies, and type B also different antibodies, and type C also different antibodies. There is no cross immunity between them. So single type of antibodies, it cannot treat these all three types of viruses. For A it is different, and B it is different, and C it is different. Because they are antigenically, the antigenicity may be different. So that's why our immune system will produce different kind of antibodies for both, for respectively type A and type B and type C. So no antibodies are common for all three viruses. Type A, influenza A, B, C. So influenza A and B viruses, which are responsible for epidemics most of the times. Epidemics of a disease throughout the world. Influenza A and B. These are important. Which causes an infectious disease. That infectious disease become an epidemic. This is related to agent and continuation part. Both influenza A and B viruses have two distinct surface antigens. They are having, for example, just this is what influenza A and this is what influenza B virus, just assuming it is a virus. Then this surface having antigens, and this surface also having antigens. One is A and another one is B. So both viruses having different antigens on their surfaces. So that's why the antigenicity also may be distinct or different. So these antigenic surface antigens are hemagglutinin, that represented as H. It is denoted by H. And the neuraminidase, it is denoted as N with N. These two kind of antigens present on the surface of the virus, influenza A and influenza virus B. So what is the role of these antigens which are present on the surface of the virus? But what is the exact role? So here the H antigen, H is means what? Hemagglutinin. The H antigen which initiates infection by the attachment of the virus. Are you followed? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Right. Here the H antigen which initiates, which starts the infection. How it will be started? By attachment. That virus particle attached to susceptible host containing cell. After entry into host, the surface containing antigens, virus surface containing antigens. What kind of antigens those are? H and N. So H is hemagglutinin and N is neuraminidase. These kind of antigens present on surface of the virus. So this H antigen, it helps to attachment. It helps to attach to the particular susceptible cell within the host. So now after attachment, that N antigen is responsible after that, which release of the virus from the infected cell. One is for entry attachment, another for is exit. One is helps to attachment, helps to attach, and other to a particular susceptible cells within the host. And after that N antigen is responsible for the release of the virus, completely release of the virus from that infected cell. And again that H is attached to new cell, and again that N is leaves from that cell, infected cell, and again H. It is a continuous process. It's a continuous cycle like. With the help of H, it attached. With the help of N, it may be released. Okay. So here, this is what the surface containing antigens of viruses: influenza virus A, influenza virus B, that surface containing hemagglutinin H and neuraminidase N. These antigens are helpful to entry and exit of the host or infected cells or susceptible cells. Okay. Yeah. So the influenza A virus is unique type among the all viruses. Is having their own identity, or structurally it is unique because it is frequently subject to virus to antigenic variation, both major and minor. That I will explain. So when there is a sudden or complete or major change during the host system, there is any sudden or complete or a major change during or inside the host system, it is called a shift. So in case of virus, not in case of host, in case of virus, is there any sudden change with respect to structure or any virus property? There is any sudden change or complete change or major change. It is called what? Antigenic shift. Okay. So when there is any sudden change is called an antigenic shift. In case of antigen only, in case of virus only. And when the antigenic change is gradual, that change is gradual. Suddenly start అయిపోయింది, but it continuously gradually increased. That antigenic change is gradual over a long period of time. So it is called drift. Antigenic drift is there, antigenic shift is there. So that's why antigenic variations I am calling. Antigenic variations. So here the influenza virus A is a unique because it's showing antigenic shift and antigenic drift. Okay. So this is what the clear difference. Once again you listen. Just a sudden or complete change, it is called antigenic shift. What kind of change it is? Antigenic change. And that antigenic change is gradually increased. either may be decreased over a period of time. It is called antigenic drift. Okay. So antigenic shift, it appears to result from genetic recombination. So what kind of sudden change antunadu? Sudden change, how it will be appeared? So that is what genetic recombination of human with animal or avian virus. So genetically it may be changed, some point of mutations antuntam, providing a major antigenic change. This is what which will the genetic recombination of human with animal or avian virus. So which providing a major antigenic change. Nothing but antigenic shift. So this can cause a major epidemic or pandemic involving most or all age groups of the population. Okay. So this next coming to antigenic drift. So antigenic shift may caused by genetic recombination of human with animal or avian virus. So here antigenic drift which involves point mutation. So there is a genetic code is there, each and every gene having specific code. So sudden change in the codons, sudden change in the genetic information, sudden change in a particular gene sequence. So it is in your third semester, I think, which will be discussed in the latter. What is mutation? So I think it is in your next unit maybe. So I will explain later that one. What is mutation? How many types of mutations are there? So mutation is nothing but the sudden change. So point mutation is example or classification comes under the mutation. Okay. That genetic information may be transferred from the parent to daughter cells. So during that, the mutations may be, there is a chance to change, the sudden change in the sequence of genes or gene coding. Okay. So antigenic drift which involves point mutation in the gene owing to selection pressure by immunity in the host population. So these antigenic changes occurs to a lesser degree in the B group of influenza viruses. So not that much of virus group A. So group A, it is always maybe antigenic changes occurs. So that's why it is unique. But compared with the B and C, it not that much. Antigenic changes occur to a lesser degree in the B group influenza viruses, and influenza C appears to be antigenically stable. There is no change within the C. But B is somewhat less compared with the A. But A is the group of viruses A are very antigenical changes or antigenic drift and antigenic shift occurs within the A group of influenza viruses. Okay. So this is what another some. Since the isolation of the virus A in the 1933, so there is major antigenic changes have occurred within twice. So once in the 1957 H2N2 jarigindi, and then again it is in 1968 H3N2 వచ్చేసారు. So here this is what the H region, the hemagglutinin is different compared with, this is N indicates what, neuraminidase, and H indicates what, hemagglutinin. So here in the 1957 it is H2, but in case of 1968, so it is H3. So there is antigenic change. That virus A antigenic change occurs, H2 and H3 in the 1957 and 1968. Okay. And strains occurring between 1946 and 1957 compared with 1946 and 1957. So there is a have been called H1N1 strains. So hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. The shift in 1968 involved only the H antigen. So N1 is common or N2 is common. Next, in the 1977, there is another new antigenic type appeared in China and the USSR. Okay, and the virus was unidentified. Sorry, the virus was identified as A, that is H1N1. Okay. So here there is a changes, actually antigenic changes, emergence a new subtype revealing S3 no need. Yeah, now coming to structure of virion. So virus structure, influenza group of viruses. So here this is what HA region. So this is outermost layer, and these are what HA hemagglutinin. Okay, and this is what surface containing antigens. So neuraminidase, this is what surface, and these are surface antigens. One is HA antigen, another one is NA antigen, hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. So here these are what inside helical nucleocapsid, RNA plus NP protein, RNA and NP proteins inside the capsid or inside this membrane. So here this is what phospholipid membrane or lipid bilayer membrane. Lipid bilayer membrane it is. It containing lipids and fatty acids. So it is a covering coat. Okay now. So envelopes like structure it is. So inside the helical nucleocapsid is there, and polymerase complex within that, and this is what M1 protein. Okay, I'll tell you about the what are the structural features and classification of viruses. I think it is in your first unit, classification of viruses including structural features of viruses. Okay, you have to learn in that unit. Yes. Yeah, here the major differences between type A, type B and type C viruses. So influenza A virus and B virus and C virus. So this is what host range: humans, pigs, horses, birds and marine mammals in case of influenza A. So influenza B, it is only for humans. The host is only humans. So here humans and pigs, influenza C. And now coming to epidemiology. So here antigenic shift is there, antigenic drift is there in case of influenza A. So what is antigenic shift and what is antigenic drift? Already I have told that. Okay. So next, in case of influenza B, yeah, any doubt? Here antigenic drift only, and here antigenic drift only. So some chemical features about the viruses, virus A and B and C. So it may cause pandemics with significant mortalities, especially in affected young people. So in influenza B, it is a severe disease, generally confined to elderly or high risk, and pandemics not seen. So here mild disease it is, common in children without seasonality. So it is common in children for the below age of 4 years. So next, genome. So here the gene containing 8 segments in influenza virus A. So like it is a particular gene, just assume then how many segments are present. Segment A is having different chemical properties, and segment B is segment 3, segment 4, like that. So here 8 gene segments are present, and here also 8 gene segments. But in case of influenza C, it is only containing 7 gene segments. So now structure. So these are some clinical features are there, and here structural features. So here 10 proteins, 10 viral proteins are there, and M2 protein is there, unique. And here 11 proteins are there, and NB containing protein is there. So HEF unique protein is there, and other 9 viral proteins are there. So these are just what similarities and differences between influenza viruses type A, B and C. Okay. So next slide. So what is the reservoir of this infection? Who are the reservoirs actual? So it has become increasingly evident that a major reservoir of influenza virus exists in animals and birds. Okay. Animals and birds are the reservoirs. So many influenza viruses have been isolated, extracted or isolated from a wide variety of animals. These epidemiological studies on the reservoir, many influenza viruses have been identified or isolated from animals and birds only. Swines, horses, dogs, cats, domestic poultry, birds and wild birds, etc. But the mode of transmission is airborne. So some of these include the major H and N antigens related to human strains. This is what just a reservoir. So there is increasing evidence that the animal reservoir provides always new strains. I think you know about the reservoir within the pathogen life cycle. That is a interlink. Animal reservoir which provides new strains of the influenza virus by recombination between the influenza viruses of man, animals and birds. Okay. So after reservoir, coming to source of infection. So it is case and subclinical case. The source of infection is already those who are infected people. They were continuously spread these viruses. The source of infection usually is a case or subclinical case. So case is nothing but clinically diagnosed. They having symptoms. They show symptoms. Patient already facing symptoms. Experienced. But subclinical means the virus is present but they are asymptomatic. They don't have any characteristic signs and symptoms. So that is what the difference, case and subclinical case. Case is nothing but who are already infected and they are having exact characteristic features. Characters are signs and symptoms of that particular infectious disease. But in case of subclinical, under the asymptomatic, they are asymptomatic. They don't have any kind of symptoms, but they are having virus. So during epidemics, a large number of mild and asymptomatic infections occur. Mild, very low level symptoms, and asymptomatic, completely absence of symptoms. A indicates asymptomatic, absence of any kind of symptoms. Asymptomatic infections occurs. So which play an important role because we are not identified. There is somewhat confusion. The patient does not exhibit any kind of symptom, how you can isolate it, how you can isolate that host from the population. So that's why it's a difficult, but which play an important role to spread the infection among the people, to spread the infection to others. They are asymptomatic, but they are having virus, they continuously harbor, they continuously spread that virus to others. That is the main major difficulty in case of infectious disease, not only this flu, in case of COVID also. Some individuals may not produce, may not exhibit any kind of symptoms. వాడికి జలుబు ఉండదు, దగ్గు ఉండదు, ఏమి ఉండదు, బట్ వైరస్ ఉంటుంది ఇన్సైడ్. How you can isolate that person? That is difficult to identify those who are infected, those who are not infected. The identification is depends on only signs and symptoms. But when asymptomatic condition, asymptomatic infections, how you can identify? That is a big problem with infectious diseases or in epidemics or pandemics. So that epidemic become pandemic due to these kind of reasons. So that's why you need to identify infected peoples and along with non-infected individuals, uninfected individuals also. Symptomatic conditions and asymptomatic conditions you can observe both, and you have to diagnose both. But it is somewhat highly difficult. He is completely asymptomatic. మీరు ఏదైతే శాంపిల్ కలెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నారో, in that sample also there is no symptoms and there is no virus, because the virus which does not show any signs and symptoms in that host, but it may be spread to others. So the secretions of the respiratory tract are ineffective. ఈ ఫ్లూలో ఏమవుతుంది, రెస్పిరేటరీ ట్రాక్ట్ ఇన్ఫెక్షన్ వస్తుంటుంది ఫస్ట్. ఓకే, సో వాట్ ఈస్ ద ఇన్ఫెక్టివిటీ, హౌ మచ్ టైమ్? So the virus is present in the nasopharynx region, nostrils with pharynx region, gontu and nostrils mukku. Okay, a couple of days before the infection, before the signs and symptoms, it is stayed actually at the region of nasopharynx. After a couple of days, which produce symptoms. That is what the period of infectivity. That depends upon the virus. How many days? It will depends on the virus. Virus and immune resistance, host resistance. That is what period of infectivity. And host factors. Some host related factors also influencing that antigenicity or virus susceptibility. What is that? Age and sex. Influenza which affects all age group, all ages of the, and people of both sexes, genders, male and female, both genders. In general, the attack rate is lower among the adults. Okay. And children constitute an important link, especially children's. They are the important links in the transmission chain, this life cycle of the pathogen, children's. So the highest mortality rate, already you know about the mortality and morbidity, including the definitions. The highest mortality rate during an epidemic occurs among the certain high risk groups in the population, such as old people, those who are above 65 years. Okay. And also infants under the 18 months. 18 months, not in the years. Old people and along with the infants, their highest mortality rate they are showing. The virus is having highest mortality rate in the people who are older age peoples and infants, and persons with some chronic disorders like diabetes and congestive heart failures and BP fluctuations, blood pressure and angina pectoris and some heart attacks, and those who are kidney failures and some respiratory ailments, means asthma patients and pneumonia, pulmonary diseases like tuberculosis. So those are highly infected. There is a chance, high risk group people these are. So that is what age and sex, this is what host parameters. So human mobility, it is very very important to control, to prevent the spread of any kind of infectious disease. Mobility, this is an important factor. Okay, in the spread of the infection from country to country, from person to person, within a short period of time, like in COVID also. So this is what human mobility. So, and immunity also, host containing immunity, how much he was immunized, how much strong he was. So immunity, that immunity will decide whether the virus may be survived or not in your within the host. That is depends on immunity. But initially there is no antibodies because it is a new kind of virus for that host. That is a new environment. Antibodies appears only in about 7 days after an attack. Any kind of virus. And reach it at a maximum level after 7 days. Starting initiation is will take time about the 7 days. After 7 days the production may be started, the antibodies produced, and the high content antibodies may be reached. The concentration, the maximum level, it will be reached in about the 2 weeks, from after 7 days to 2 weeks. After about 8 to 12 months, antibody levels drop to pre-infection level. Before the infection level is 0. So maximum 7 days lo start అయిపోతుంది process. That will be reached within 2 weeks. After 8 months వరకు antibodies ఉంటాయి, then 8 to 1 year mostly. Within 1 year that antibody levels may be dropped out. It will be decreased again. So next time that same virus, maybe it enters into the host, that antibodies again, the memory cells, that drop అంటున్నాడు కదా, ఆ డ్రాప్ అనే కాస్త ఇమ్యూన్ మెమరీ సెల్స్గా ఉండిపోతుంటాయి. Within the immune organs, it may be stored, that immune cells may be stored, these memory T cells, like again ready to produce antibodies. So the antibody to H, what is H here? Antigenic surface, virus surface containing antigen. So antibody, it will neutralize H of the virus and also which modifies N of the infection, N region of the virus. So H ని న్యూట్రలైజ్ చేసేస్తుంటుంది, N ని మాడిఫై చేస్తుంటుంది. దట్ ఈస్ ద antigen antibody reaction during the flu condition. And secondary antibodies also developed. So in the respiratory tract, after infection, within the respiratory tract, there is some secondary antibodies may be produced, like it consists of IgG, immunoglobulin G type. Immunoglobulin, it is denoted as Ig, immunoglobulin, the type is G, predominantly of IgG. IgA is there, B is there, okay, now IgD is there, like IgG is there. IgE also present, A, E, G. So these are different types, which is in your 4th unit, I think, immunology. That will be discussed later in the 4th unit. So antibodies must be present in sufficient concentration at the superficial cells of the respiratory tract. The secondary antibodies which are present on the respiratory tract, superficial part of the respiratory tract or superficial cells of the respiratory tract, they are ready to attack any antigen, especially influenza virus A, B, C. Okay. So host factors also computed. After that, environmental factors which also influence, especially the season. Some seasonal incidents striking epidemics usually occur in the winter months in the northern hemisphere. Like in India, however, epidemics have often occurred in the summer. And overcrowding schools, institutions, and shipyards, etc. Overcrowding or enhances the transmission of the infection. So the attack rate are high in closed population. So that's why to maintain the distance. And this is what the incubation period for influenza. It is 8 to 72 hours. 18 to 72 hours. Within 1 or 3 days. 1 to 3 days just. That is the incubation period of this influenza virus. The incubation period is about 18 to 72 hours. Next, pathogenesis. What are the conditions? So here the virus enters the respiratory tract initially. From pharynx, nasopharynx to respiratory tract. The virus enters the respiratory tract and which causes inflammation first. Swell avutuntundi, like inflammation వచ్చేస్తుంది. Then after inflammation, necrosis, damage అయిపోతుంటుంది. Necrosis is nothing but the damage, ruptured the particular area or cells. Necrosis of the superficial epithelium of the tracheal and branchial mucosa. That mucosa linings అని ఉంటుంది. Mucosa linings nothing but like here, this is what the respiratory tract అనుకుందాం. Okay, so here the respiratory tract having the mucous membranes, we are calling as a mucous membrane because the mucous secretions throughout the tract. Mucous secretions throughout the tract is there. So here this tracheal and branchial, ఇక్కడ నుంచి branchial start అయిపోతుంటుంది. So here the branchial maybe it started. So here the linings of the mucosa, this outer membrane linings అంటుంటారు. These membrane linings from the tract and mucosa also. This is what branchial mucosa. Tracheal and branchial mucosa are infected. Necrosis, damaged, thus mucous lining or protective linings. That protective secretory cells containing linings may be ruptured and followed by secondary bacterial invasion. అక్కడ bacterial infection కూడా స్టార్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. So there is no viremia, there is no toxic actually up to so far. There is no virions. It directly enters into the lungs and tract infection. So these are actually what are the signs and symptoms of this flu. The symptoms has begin within 4 days. Symptoms has begin within 4 days after infection. The following symptoms of the flu can vary depending on the type of virus. Virus A, virus B, virus C, influenza virus A, virus C, virus B, and also person's age and also health condition. How much strong, how much immune, how much defensive mechanism was involved actively. So here the sudden onset of chills and fever, that fever in between 101 to 103 foreign degrees, and sore throat that may be inflammation in the throat or uncomfortable feeling. And dry cough or itching, just sore throat is nothing but the itching. Next, dry cough, just you should identify which one is flu and which one is tuberculosis. In both cases cough is there, but one is a bloody sputum cough in TB, here the dry cough only. And fatigue, unable to move, unable to, discomfort, just malaise and fatigue is nothing but the discomfortness and dizziness. And terrible muscle pains, severe muscle aches and headaches, diarrhea also, and dizziness. So these are what symptoms, and both viruses cause the same symptoms. Fever lasts ఎప్పుడు from 1 to 5 days, averaging about 3 days in adults. 3 days వరకు ఉంటుంది in case of adults. The most dreaded complication, the most dreadful complication is pneumonia. So pneumonia, which should be suspected if fever persists behind 4 or 5 days. ఒకవేళ 4-5 days తర్వాత కూడా ఫీవర్ తగ్గట్లేదంటే ఏంటి, that recurs abruptly after convalescence. So here the patient may facing with a pneumonial condition, lung infection or respiratory infections. So what is which one is a cold flu? How can we identify which one is cold and which one is flu? Symptoms ni batti identify cheyadam ela. So for example, here the symptom is fever. So in case of cold, what is the fever condition? In case of flu, what is the fever condition? Common cold is nothing but common cold, just జలుబు అయింది అంటుంటారు కదా, like that is different from flu or influenza. So fever, it is rare common, cold condition lo it is rare, but in case of flu it is very high, the temperature is high. And headache, it is rare, but here in case of flu it is a prominent, continuous headache. And general aches, body pains. So here in common cold, that is in case mild, and but here in flu it is very severe body pains and general ache. And fatigue, so unable to move, like discomfort, that dizziness. So it is in case common cold it is mild. Fatigue means just unable to move or unable to walk like. So it is in case of common cold is mild, and flu can last for 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks it is common fatigue. Extreme exhaustion, it is absent and it is early prominent. Exhalation అవుతుంది, extreme exhaustion. And blocked nose, కోల్డ్లో అయితే కామన్గా అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తుంటాం, బట్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ బ్లాక్డ్ నోస్, రన్నింగ్ నోస్ కాస్త బ్లాక్ అయిపోతుంటుంది కదా, ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్లూ ఇట్ ఈస్ సమ్ టైమ్స్ మే అబ్జర్వ్. And sneezing also, there is no sneezing, there is no blocked nose in case of flu, but only sometimes it may observe. Usual common it is in common cold. Sore throat, it is common in case of cold, but flu only some infected peoples. Chest discomfort, it is very present prominently in case of flu, not in case of cold. Chest discomfort. So these are what differences in their symptoms. How you should identify which one is cold and which one is flu. So how we can diagnose, identification, how you can collect the sample. Yes, these kind of patients are individually infected with the influenza virus. Then, so first one is isolation of virus. సో జస్ట్ యూ కెన్ కలెక్ట్ ద నాసోఫారింగియల్ మ్యూకస్, ఎక్కడైతే థ్రోట్ దగ్గర కానీ నాస్ట్రిల్స్లో కానీ ఆ సెక్రేషన్ని కలెక్ట్ చేయాలి. దట్ ఈస్ యువర్ శాంపిల్ నౌ, పేషెంట్ శాంపిల్. నాసోఫారింజియల్ సెక్రేషన్ ఆర్ ద బెస్ట్ స్పెసిమెన్ ఫర్ అబ్టైనింగ్ లార్జ్ క్వాంటిటీస్ ఆఫ్ వైరస్ ఇన్ఫెక్టెడ్ సెల్స్. కోవిడ్ టెస్ట్ ఎలా చేస్తుంటారు, లైక్ సేమ్ సెక్రేషన్ని అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తుంటారు, గ్రాస్ప్ చేస్తుంటారు ఫస్ట్. దట్ ఈస్ ద శాంపిల్. You have to take that sample, those who are infected patients, That sample is what? Nasopharyngeal secretion, mucus. తెమ్ముడా అంటుంటారా? The virus can be detected by the indirect fluorescent antibody technique. So what is fluorescent antibody technique? I will explain. This is already, I think it is in your fourth unit, immunology. Not only fluorescent antibody reaction, all kind of antigen antibody reactions are there in your fourth unit. I will explain detail later, including experiments, antigen antibody interactions. Okay, so just you should remember that the conducting assay is fluorescent antibody technique, indirect fluorescent antibody technique, and direct antibody also there. We will discuss that one later. So however, egg inoculation is required for virus isolation. సో మరి శాంపిల్ తీసుకున్న తర్వాత దాన్ని ఏం చేయాలి? కల్టివేట్ చేయాలి. కల్టివేట్ చేయాలంటే ఏం చేయవచ్చు? ఐసోలేట్ చేసిన దాన్ని ఏం చేయాలి? సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు ప్రిపేర్ సమ్ న్యూట్రియంట్ మీడియా ఫర్ దట్. సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఎగ్ ఇనాక్యులేషన్ అంటుంటాడు. న్యూట్రియంట్ మీడియా, ఒక పెట్రీ ప్లేట్లో న్యూట్రియంట్ మీడియా తీసేసుకోండి. యూ షుడ్ ఇనాక్యులేట్. ఇనాక్యులేషన్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ జస్ట్ put your microorganism, put your sample containing species into nutrient media that will survive and growth inside the laboratory. మీరు గ్రో చేయాలి వాటిని. కల్టివేషన్, దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ వైరస్ ఐసోలేషన్ అండ్ కల్టివేషన్. బికాస్ ఫర్దర్ స్టడీస్కి ఫర్దర్గా స్ట్రక్చరల్ ఫీచర్స్ ఏంటి, వైరస్ ఏంటి, హిస్టరీ ఏంటిది కనుక్కోవడానికి ఏం చేయాలి? దాన్ని గ్రో చేయాలి, కల్టివేట్ చేయాలి. అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ పెయిర్డ్ సెరా. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ వాట్ సీరం కలెక్ట్ చేస్తుంటారు. సెరో డయాగ్నోసిస్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెంజా, సెరాలజికల్ టెస్ట్ అంటుంటారు దాన్ని. లైక్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెంజా ఏ ఆర్ బి కెన్ బి మేడ్ బై ద ఎగ్జామినేషన్ ఆఫ్ 2 సీరం స్పెసిమెన్స్. అంటే దట్ సీరం కంటైనింగ్ యాంటీబాడీస్ ఆర్ నాట్. ఇఫ్ ద యాంటీబాడీస్ ఆర్ ప్రజెంట్, one thing you have to tell me. So here the patient A is there and patient B is there, right? You can collect the sample from patient A blood sample and patient B blood sample. So here antibodies are present in patient B, but here there is no antibodies. Which one is now positive and which one who is positive and who is negative? Anyone can tell me. Case A and case B. B is having antibodies in their blood, in their serum, and A does not have any kind of antibodies. And antibodies ఉన్నవాడు పాజిటివా లేనివాడు పాజిటివా? How can you say that? Anyone can tell me which one who is positive and who is negative in this case?
B is positive, A is negative.
Yeah, B is positive because antibodies present అయినా అంటే ఏంటి? సో ఆల్రెడీ ఇమ్యూన్ రియాక్షన్ జరుగుతుంది అనట్లే కదా, వైరస్ ఆల్రెడీ అటాక్డ్. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ జస్ట్ సీరం. దాన్ని టైటర్ చేయొచ్చు మనం. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో అనదర్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డయాగ్నోసిస్ ప్రాసెస్. బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ మేబీ ఎప్పుడు ఓన్లీ ఇల్నెస్ పీరియడ్లోనే ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయొచ్చు మనం దీన్ని. ఇల్నెస్ పీరియడ్లోనే ఏమవుతుంది? యాంటీబాడీస్ ప్రొడ్యూస్ అవుతుంటాయి. ఓకే, సో యూ కెన్ కలెక్ట్ ద హ్యూమన్ సీరా అండ్ కండక్ట్ ద యాంటీజెన్ యాంటీబాడీ titer. Some antigens are present in your sample, antibodies are present in your sample. You should administer antigens for that inside the lab. ఆ రెండింటి మధ్యలో రియాక్షన్ జరుగుతుంటుంది. ఓకే, సో ఇన్ ఇండియా some facilities for isolation of the influenza viruses are available. Some facilities for isolation centers, like especially in case of influenza virus, Government of India Influenza Center, Pasteur Institute, Kunur, సౌత్ ఇండియాలో ఉందంట. దిస్ ఈజ్ వాట్ ఐసోలేషన్ సెంటర్, ఐసోలేషన్ ఫెసిలిటీ ఉంటుంది అక్కడ. ఓకే, అండ్ హస్కైన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ముంబై, అండ్ స్కూల్ ఆఫ్ ట్రాపికల్ మెడిసిన్ కల్కటా, స్కూల్ ఆఫ్ ట్రాపికల్ మెడిసిన్ కల్కటా, అండ్ ఎయిమ్స్, ఆల్ ఇండియా ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఆఫ్ మెడికల్ సైన్సెస్ న్యూఢిల్లీ, ఎయిమ్స్ న్యూఢిల్లీ, and VPCI, Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute, Delhi, and Armed Forces Medical College, Pune. ఓకే, సో ఇప్పుడు వ్యాక్సిన్స్ తయారు చేసిన వాళ్ళు ఎవరు కోవిడ్కి ఇండియాలో? ఏం ఇండస్ట్రీ అది? One is the Serum Institute of Pune, Covishield, and Covaxin for Bharat Biotech. So next, this is another one, rapid influenza test. Rapid RT-PCR అంటుంటారు కదా మీరు ఇప్పుడు కోవిడ్కి. లైక్ హియర్ ఆల్సో ర్యాపిడ్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెంజా టెస్ట్ ఆల్సో there. So these tests are 70% accurate for determining if the patient has been infected with the influenza virus, and 90% accurate for determining the type of influenza pathogen. Examples of rapid influenza test are Directigen Flu A, that is one test. ఆ కిట్ ఉంటుంది, ఆ కిట్ని యూజ్ చేసి ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తుంటారు. అండ్ Directigen Flu A+B and Flu OIA, okay, and Quick View and Just Start Flu. These are different kits are available for conducting rapid influenza test, which provides results in 24 hours, within 24 hours, and can be performed in the physician's office in the hospitals. So this is what just rapid infection or influenza tests. Now the treatment, coming to treatment side, what are the drugs are available within the market or inside the market? Then all antiviral drugs which inhibits viral replication. A virus host loki enter ayinaka replicate avutundi kada, yeah, viral replication, but they act in different way. Mechanism is different. The only thing is attacking your drug substance onto that microorganism is different, but all are used to treat or used to inhibit. The drugs that are effective against influenza A viruses are first amantadine and rimantadine. These two are antiviral agents, amantadine and rimantadine. Just you should note down amantadine and rimantadine. వీటి ప్రిపరేషన్ ఏంటి, డిస్కవరీ ఏంటి, మెకానిజమ్స్ ఏంటో చూడవచ్చు ఫ్యూచర్లో. అమాంటిడిన్ యాజ్ ఎ ఫార్మాస్యూటికల్ కెమిస్ట్, మీరు అదే కదా ఇప్పుడు ఫార్మాస్యూటికల్ కెమిస్ట్లో ఉన్నారంటే జస్ట్ సింప్లీ యు నో అబౌట్ ఆల్ ద ఆస్పెక్ట్స్ ఆఫ్ డ్రగ్ డిస్కవరీ అండ్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఫేజెస్. నెక్స్ట్, డ్రగ్స్ దట్ ఆర్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ అగెన్స్ట్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెంజా ఏ వైరసెస్ అండ్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెంజా బి వైరసెస్, బోత్ కేసెస్. రెండు వైరసెస్లకు వచ్చేటి జనామావీర్ అండ్ ఒసెల్టామావీర్. These two drugs used to treat both the viruses, influenza A and influenza B viruses. So drugs that are effect only influenza A anadu anukondi, only influenza A is what, amantadine and rimantadine. Ikkada meer oka pani cheyandi, just simple ga this is what surface అని చెప్పినాను, యాంటీజెనిక్ సర్ఫేస్ ఆర్ వైరస్ సర్ఫేస్ అన్నాను. సర్ఫేస్ పైన ఏమున్నాయి, యాంటీజెనిక్ పారామీటర్స్ ఆర్ యాంటీజెనిక్ sites are there. These are antigenic parameters. So your drug molecule going and will kill this or will bind to these antigenic parameters. So now it may be collapsed. That will leads to this kind of interaction also maybe leads to killing the microorganism. Leads to kill the microorganism. Okay. Next, amantadine, rimantadine, zanamivir and oseltamivir. What is the type of administration? All are oral route of administration, either tablet or capsule. ఎలా బాడీకి పేషెంట్కి ఇస్తున్నారో చెప్తున్నాడు. అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ఇస్ నథింగ్ బట్ హౌ షుడ్ యూ intake the drug, the pattern of intake. And zanamivir is inhalational. It is inhalation, oral inhalation. పౌడర్ లాగా ఉంటుంది, ఇలా పెట్టుకొని సక్ చేసేస్తే వెళ్ళిపోతూ ఉంటుంది, లైక్ ఓరల్ ఇన్హలేషన్. ఆస్తమా పేషెంట్స్ లాగా ఉంటుంది కదా, ఇట్లా ఓరల్ ఇన్హలేటర్స్. లైక్ ఏజెస్ అప్రూవ్డ్ ఫర్ ద ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్లూ ఈజ్ 1 year. రిమాంటెడిన్ తీసుకోవాలంటే 4 years. అండ్ ఆల్సో ప్రివెన్షన్కి 1 year. సో జనామవీర్ 7 years, ఒసెల్టామవీర్ 18 years. ఓకే, సో దీస్ ఆర్ డ్రగ్ ఆఫ్ చాయిసెస్. దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ OTC, other drug choices. So symptoms చూడండి అక్కడ. ఫస్ట్ ఫీవర్ ఉందనుకోండి, ఫీవర్ అండ్ ఏక్. ఓకే, So here these counter drugs అంటుంటారు. What is the over the counter drug is over the counter fever, headache or body pains, aches and different aches and pains, sinus pressure and sore throat. ఇలాంటి సిమ్టమ్స్లో దీస్ ఆర్ ఫ్లూ సిమ్టమ్స్ అనాల్జెసిక్స్ ఇస్తుంటారు. ఇబుప్రోఫిన్, ఓకే, లైక్ ఆల్ అనాల్జెసిక్ సబ్స్టాన్సెస్, ఆస్పిరిన్ లైక్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ నాజల్ కంజెషన్ అండ్ సైనస్ ప్రెజర్. సో డీకంజెస్టెంట్స్ ఇస్తుంటారు. సైనస్ ప్రెజర్ అండ్ రన్నీ నోస్, వాటరీ ఐస్ అండ్ కాఫ్, యాంటీ హిస్టామైన్స్ ఇస్తుంటారు అక్కడ. ఇవన్నీ ఏంటి అనే మళ్ళీ 8th సెమిస్టర్లో చూద్దాం. వాటర్ అనాల్జెసిక్స్, డీకంజెస్టెంట్స్ మీకు వస్తుంటాయి మధ్య మధ్యలో. సో బ్రీఫ్ వచ్చేసి 7th సెమిస్టర్ ఐ థింక్. కాఫ్ సప్రెసెంట్స్, కాఫ్ తగ్గడానికి యూజ్ చేస్తుంటారు. నెక్స్ట్ సోర్ థ్రోట్, లోకల్ అనెస్థెటిక్స్. ఎక్కడైతే ఇచింగ్ ఉంటుందో, ఎక్కడైతే ఇరిటేషన్ ఉంటుందో థ్రోట్లో, సో ఆ ప్లేస్కి అనెస్థెటిక్స్ ఇచ్చేస్తుంటారు, లోకల్ అనెస్థెటిక్స్. సో వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ లాస్ట్ వన్ ఫైనలీ, హౌ షుడ్ యూ prevention of influenza. So the only method for preventing influenza is yearly vaccination, approximately 2 weeks before the flu season begins. Every year vaccination చేయించుకోవాలంటున్నాడు before the season. So since the influenza virus is subject to genetic mutations with the HA-NA proteins, and new vaccines that consist of different influenza strains need to be developed each year. Vaccination is the only better way. So vaccine is trivalent, and meaning that it provides resistance to 3 strains. Trivalent means the vaccine is resistant for 3 strains, type influenza virus A, B, C. So the vaccine consists of 2 influenza A virus pathogens and 1 influenza B pathogen. Virus lo unna combination చెప్తున్నాడు. 2 are influenza virus A pathogens are there, and 1 influenza is B pathogen is there. Vaccine is nothing but what? Antigenic preparation kada, pathogenic preparations. Okay, so since influenza vaccines will not control epidemics anukondi, they are recommended only in certain select population groups, especially in case of industry and reduced absenteeism and public services, to prevent the disruption of critical public services such as the police, fire protection, transport and medical care. Okay, so moreover certain groups, example the elderly and individuals in any age group who have known underlying chronic and debilitating these particular diseases, no need. Yeah, these are vaccines available. Just note down the vaccines, killed vaccines. Most influenza vaccinations programs make use of inactivated vaccines. Inactivated nothing but killed vaccines, those are. సో ఇవి 2 డోసెస్లో ఇవ్వాలి. ఇప్పుడు కరోనా కూడా 2 డోసెస్లో ఉంది కదా. సో రూట్ ఆఫ్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ఇస్ సబ్క్యూటేనియస్, అండర్ ద స్కిన్, అండర్ ద క్యూటేనియస్ లేయర్. A single inoculation usually given a persons with no previous immunological experience. 2 doses of the vaccine is separated by an interval, particularly 3 to 4 weeks. ఇప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ డోస్ ఇచ్చిన తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ ఒక 4 weeks గ్యాప్ ఇచ్చేసి సెకండ్ డోస్ ఇచ్చేస్తుంటారు. దట్ ఈస్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెంజా వ్యాక్సిన్స్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ ఇన్ ద చైనా అండ్ యూఎస్ఎస్ఆర్ రీజన్స్లో లైవ్ అటెన్యూటెడ్ వ్యాక్సిన్స్ ఆల్సో దేర్ అవైలబుల్. సమ్ న్యూయర్ వ్యాక్సిన్స్ ఆల్సో అవైలబుల్, లైక్ స్ప్లిట్ వైరస్ వ్యాక్సిన్ అంటుంటారు దాన్ని. స్ప్లిట్ వైరస్ వ్యాక్సిన్, this is also available for, and neuraminidase specific vaccine also available. Vaccine center చూసుకోండి. Yeah, you can prevent other than vaccine అయింది అనుకోండి. If other than vaccine is not available, how can you prevent that? So if you are vaccinated, if you are already immunized, if you are already vaccinated, already you got the vaccine, అయినా కూడా ఏం చేయాలి? Even though you should maintain these conditions, you should maintain these preventive measures. Those are what? Avoid close contact first. Avoid close contact with the people who are sick, who are in a sick condition. When you are sick, keep your distance from others, just to protect yourself and others also. Okay, and stay home when you are in a sick. and cover your mouth and nose with a mask, wearing mask. Cover your mouth and nose. ఈ మొబిలిటీ ఉండదు మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ, ఓకేనా? అక్కడ నుండి ఇక్కడికి తిరగడం, ఈ కంట్రీ నుంచి ఆ కంట్రీకి ట్రావెలింగ్ చేయడం ఇట్లాంటివి ఉండదు. క్లీన్ యువర్ హ్యాండ్స్ ఫస్ట్, ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. వాషింగ్ యువర్ హ్యాండ్స్ రెగ్యులర్లీ అంటుంటారు. ఆఫెన్ విల్ హెల్ప్ టు ప్రొటెక్ట్స్ ఫ్రమ్ జర్మ్స్. And avoid touching your eyes and nose or mouth frequently, because germs are often spread through your hands, fingers. A person touches something that is contaminated with the germs and then touches his or her eyes, nose or mouth, it may be transmitted. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth. And some practice other some good health habits like plenty of sleep, physically active, and manage your stress and stress control, stress management antuntaru, and drink plenty of fluids and water and eat nutritious food. So these are other good health habits. I think the situation is quite similar now. You can prevent the flu by the 6 measures. Karakalu: avoid close contact, stay home when you are sick, cover your mouth and nose, clean your hands, avoid touching your eyes and nose or mouth, and practice other good health habits. Okay, so thank you one and all for your patience. I'll stop over here. If you have any doubts, you can raise.